Welcome to Piano Video Lessons. I'm Lisa, and this is our last lesson of the Allemande by Johann Hermann Schein. We're working on this piece because it's a grade 1 level Baroque repertoire piece. And in this lesson, we're working on polishing the piece into a repertoire piece that we can play at any time. We're going to work on getting the tempo appropriate for this Allemande. We're going to talk about memorization tactics, and we're going to add flavor and style and confidence to the performance of this piece so that it really becomes part of you. Alright, so let's get started. You can click the info card to come on back to the first lesson of this Allemande, or even the first lesson of the Unit 9, which we're working on right now, which is all of the grade 1 level Baroque music for pianovideolessons.com. It's Year 2, Unit 2. That's a lot of numbers, but it helps you find your center if that's what you're working on. Alright, so the appropriate tempo for this piece is 120. So you're going to have 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. That's a good 120 beats a minute. And here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. So that's 120. You want to be able to feel that for the whole piece, just getting it going and having some flow and some fun with it. Now, in order to play it with flow, you might need to start working on memorization, because looking up and down into your music is limiting sometimes, slows us down. So let's talk about the memorization strategies that we can use with this piece. It's always helpful to know what's going on, not just let your fingers look after the memory, because your fingers don't have brains. They can't remember things. It's good to memorize with your brain. So we can think of how this piece starts off in a G position. Both of our thumbs are on G. And then the running up, down, and then we go to 5, running down and up. That little pattern is, we can hear it in our ear and we can remember it. But we should also know what the left hand is doing there. And we're starting on the G, and we're just staying here in this close position, going G, F sharp, G, D. So even just thinking of those things purposely will give you a little bit of an idea what's going on. Now, moving up one, if we've done our homework on that first section, this is the same thing, but one extra note. Now everything here started on A, and we're starting to include this black key of G sharp. So that is a little different. There's the sharp, and that's how it felt before, but now we add one more note, and that takes us right into this next part. Now you might want to think of this as being finger twos coming in together. So you're moving apart, and then A octave. So we could practice that a few times. Moving apart, A octave. We have moving apart, A octave. So now we could try to seam that back into what we've played before. So we have this G pattern. Now we move to A, and we're going to watch the sharp, but it feels the same. And there's the extra note. Now 2, octave down, and then ending on D. Sometimes I can't talk and play at the same time. Sorry about that. So then we move on to the next section. So we've just finished here on these Ds. Now D is the 5th note, or the dominant note of the key of G major. So this leaves us wanting more. It's obviously the song is not over. So we've just finished with finger 4, and 2 was down here. Now we do have to hop up to get our thumb up here on this G. So we've just finished. We're going to move here. Now there's a couple of similar patterns here. We're going to go down, 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 and the left hand just plays 2 Gs, but the right hand is going down, and then we're going to go from the 3rd finger down. We're getting our left hand in a new position. So just looking at that, you can think about what your left hand is doing. Remember, memorize that left hand alone. Then we have all of these back and forths. Play that left hand through on its own a few times to really get the left hand in your mind, all by itself, by memory. And then we can do the right hand by memory. It's easier to play through these sections that are the melody because we usually pay attention to the melodies. And play the left hand alone, the right hand alone, try to do those by memory alone, and then put them back together. And so this is the B section. We're stepping down, and then we're stepping down again. Now the left hand is changing our position so that we're down here now, and now the right hand is going to move lots. It moves, and it moves, and it moves. Now that part you probably have to practice a fair bit to memorize. And it's always a good idea to memorize just the ending. These both start on 2. And then your right hand moves. It's always good to know the ending in case you want to jump there. If you've had a bit of a problem with your memory and you just want to finish the song, oh, you can jump to the end and play that part by memory. All right, so let's say that you have worked on the memorization of this piece, and now you're wanting to play it at 120. So you've got that 1, 2, 3, 4. You want to play the whole piece through at a really nice 120 beats per minute. And probably it's easier now. If you're going to look at the music, you can get your tempo going at that speed for sure, because a lot of this is now kind of locked in your heart. Not repeating. So there we have the flow of 120. Now, if that feels a little bit uncomfortable, you need to work with it some more. Maybe slow it down to 100 and bring it up to 108 and eventually get it up to 120. But it needs to feel comfortable. It needs to feel natural. It needs to feel like you can do it. You need to have that confidence of being able to do it. And the more time you spend working on getting the memorization and the confidence into this piece, the more you can start to envision your dancers and start to add the character and style of this Allemande into the piece in a really synthesized, organic way. So instead of it being like this awkward of loud and loud, because we're really accenting those notes, trying to feel the down, we just want to now incorporate that in as a natural flow. So just put yourself back in the time of Johann Hermann Schein and imagine that there's a room filled with dancers and they're dancing to your Allemande, and you're putting yourself right back in history and you're going to play it for them so that they can dance to it. And it's gonna have just a different little edge to it because you're feeling differently about how you're playing the piece. So I'm just going to go ahead and play it for you, and after you finish learning this piece, add it to your list of pieces that you have worked up to being in your repertoire, and keep this one in your practice rotation so that you don't forget it and you don't lose it. All this hard work you've done to learn it, you want to make sure it stays with you. All right, so I'm going to play it for you now, and I'll see you in the next lesson where we're going to work on a minuet in F major.